Welcome everyone to another RGL cast. My name is Jared. I'm here with Space Ghost to bring you guys Froyotech versus the Covenant. This is RGL Invite 6's Season 11, Week 2A, and we got two heavy hitters here. One that have already kind of established themselves as a pretty high-level team throughout their tenure, but another one that's rising through the ranks, and we've already seen them a little bit. And I think like a week or two ago, where they played 3DM, the Covenant did on Snakewater, and it was a pretty exciting match. And I would say that, I'm ready to see what they're able to bring to the table again, but it's kind of going to be difficult because we're going to have roster switch ups that we're going to go into not too long into this. Because, I don't know, something happened last week, and the Covenant are going to be swapping out three different players. So it was already going to be kind of exciting, but now there's just a whole mystery aspect to it where you really have no idea what to expect. Dial to 11.
Most definitely. It's pretty excited to see regardless. Froyotech, last time we saw them, they had not a really fun time on Metalworks, They're kind of struggling, but, again, it's early in the season. You can always bring it back. By the end of the season, who knows? Metalworks might be one of their stronger maps, but we'll have to see as, like you said, there has been some rosters. Not only is there some roster mix-ups, but also just, one team has roster mix-ups to worry about, and Froyotech has the fact that they did not look very strong on Metalworks last time we saw them. So both teams have question marks going into this, and both these teams are expected to make playoffs, so it's definitely this match could really be important down the line when it comes to seeding.
Yep, we can go ahead and go over the rosters now. I'll go ahead and go over the Covenant roster, which has all the swap ups. It's actually, when you compare it to the last cast we did, where they played on Snakewater, Kev wasn't even there. He had a ringer for, I think Ash was playing, right? So it's
Yeah.
only two of the former people in the match we casted uh, the other week. But for the scouts, you have Shamu and Scratch. For the soldiers, you have Grape Juice and Kev. The demo man is Sam, and Azen is on Medic.
And for Froyotech, we got Yum Yum and Sandblast on Scout, Donovan and Sin on Soldier, Danny on Demoman, and May on Medic. And yeah, someone in the chat also helpfully pointed it out, but I believe Shimu and Scratch have played Scout together on the last incarnation, whatever incarnation of Mal. I believe they
Yeah.
played with each other in the past on the same roles too, so that should be, even though new roster, there's definitely going to be some synergy there between the two Scouts. Kev has played in various Mal incarnations in the past, although he played against them a couple last time I think he appeared in AZN as well, a Mal player. So definitely some call it Mal light or whatever you want, but
Yeah.
definitely a lot of Mal players on that now.
And then Grape Juice still there since the very first match they played. Sam is the only like new addition that I don't think has the experience with this group of players. I think we saw their invite debut. I think season 4, and then I think they played like advanced season 8 and got second. They've been around. They have some experience, but it'll be their second season going into like a almost full season on demo. So I guess not new, but quote unquote new in the grand scheme of like, there's a lot of names here that you recognize.
Most definitely, a lot of names that you recognize. Grape Juice, like definitely the biggest newcomer in the server. But I think last time we saw Grape Juice, he was holding his own. He's doing pretty well on the roster. So him sticking around regardless. We don't really know the causes as to why the Covenant had these rosters, mix ups, what have you. But I'm sure the deeds will be revealed over time. They usually do in some capacity.
Sometimes teams just implode. That's
Yeah,
just
it
the way of the
happens.
road.
But at least they did it early, so that way, that way it's not right before playoffs. They have time to, make things coalesce before, the real heavy hitters start coming in. But this is a pretty heavy hitting match. We are on Metalworks again, so the map should be familiar to everyone who at least watched the last RGL cast on First Sixes. But yeah, I don't know. How are you feeling going into this in terms of just like I feel like this is such a just toss up. There's a lot of question marks for both teams here.
Yeah, I still part of me kind of wants to go with the theme where it's like we've seen Freud so far
Freya
at
picked
least.
Metalworks.
When they've decided to run it back on Metalworks even despite what happened to them when they played G6. So
Maybe they could
it's
argue G6 is just really talented and,
yeah.
yeah.
As of late, I think that every time that they've decided to run it back on a map, Froyotech, that they have previously done not so great on, regardless of whoever their opponent was, they have had some merit of like, okay, even if you didn't win, you at least did better. So they don't, they've been successful at bringing their ideas on paper into fruition to overall bring a better performance. But there's also like the surprise factor of the fact that the Covenant is like, it's not the same team that you've been playing this entire time. So unless you're like coincidentally really sure of like player tendencies and play styles, like, oh yeah, even though this is basically a brand new team, we know how they're going to play Metalworks. We're not going to get in a round deficit like 10 minutes in. Like, you have to be careful about that kind of thing, and Metalworks can be a really scary map to do that on because
I think it,
the
yeah.
mids play really uniquely. So it's not like this classic like you know just sit back and kind of let everything happen. The soldiers bomb in because there's a lot of dynamics to trying to take the high ground and snowballing and making sure that you can take point presence before their team. Dying before the mid even begins, just to pure demo spam and not even fast soldier rollouts, etc., etc.
I think it,
So we'll
yeah.
see where the layers kind of go in on that regard.
I think looking at the pick bands, I think it's really interesting that we basically have like almost the same pick bands, even though it's one team is different. Like Bandy basically banned the same maps again, right? He banned both Koth maps, so he's
Hmm.
still either doesn't want to play Koth or just doesn't want to practice it in matches. One of the two, but not confident on it, whatever reason. Froyotech might be a banned Koth team this season, at least early on. He did the same thing last season, so bit of a trend there.
And then
And
Covenant is going for the route of
those are the exact G6 bands we saw last time.
yeah, spare Gullywash in particular, which I think is probably like a pretty like respectable Froyotech map until we see more of it. At least like that's my intuition of the thing. But obviously getting rid of Reckoner and Sultry they're definitely the maps that are a little bit more foreign. Like obviously they've been around a bit, but they're not the standard pug maps that people have tons and tons of experience on. They know like the back of their hand.
Yeah, I think
So
those are kind of upset maps. I
for
feel like
sure because of
you
that
might want to
reason.
pick those maps either A, if you're not feeling confident, or B, if you're feeling very confident in yourself, one of the two. Or you just feel like we've played this map a lot. So I think that the fact that they're not like going for Sultry or Villa means I feel like that means they're confident that they can fight Froyo on even footing. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
They don't feel like they're like massive underdogs here and they have to like pull a rabbit out of their hat in order to win this. The
Yeah,
only
until we
yeah,
see otherwise, I would imagine that both these teams recognize that their opponent is likely going to be like adjacent next to them on the leaderboards near the end of the
yeah.
season, and the skill gap is not that huge. So there's a reason to feel confident and not feel like you're the underdogs that bad, or that you need to go for like a cheese pick or something.
Yeah, and the only change here is Froyotech banning Sunshine instead of Process, which they're kind of similar, to be honest. They're both kind of, scout heaven. So to me, it's kind of like basically the same type of ban. Maybe banning just for whatever reason. Sunshine and Process, in my mind, are similar enough that it makes sense why, Froyotech banned one over the other.
It
But
is time for Preds though.
it is time for Preds. So going into this, I feel like these Preds might be all over the place. There's a lot of uncertainty here, at least in my mind.
Uh, Here I'll say this. Um, I think all the new additions for the Covenant should be good and for overall this season. But because this is literally like their second night playing together and their first match, I don't know how prepared they are as a team, first off. And second, as individual players de-resting, like, oh, I'm playing this season. And, you might need more than just a weekend, depending on who you
Yeah.
are, to really bring yourself to full force. So I think Froyotech could easily have a bit of an edge here in their first, like, showing against each other here in week 2. Maybe later in week 6 it'd be different, but I'll say like a 4-1 in favor of Froyo.
Yeah, I'm feeling I'm actually gonna go the way of the Covenant here. And my reasoning here, I think it's gonna be even, but I know that Kev teams generally like to play kind of slower paced. And Metalworks is one of those maps you can slow the game down. Play at your own pace, which I think is going to lean more into like Kev team dynamics. I feel like a lot of Kev teams in the past, correct me if I'm wrong, they do tend to slow the game down if they can.
He's gonna run a banner, but
Yeah, he's
obviously
gonna
not
run a
for the
banner.
first mid.
Yeah, not for the first minute, but the longest rollout in the game is over. And AC had already taken a bunch of damage hitting, and both soldiers are going to commit here and land. They are going to
Coordination.
Demo and Medic. Donovan is going to fall. Sin going to fall, but they got their picks, got their men.
Yeah, Kevin Scratch, last one's left alive. They're getting somewhat aggressive. They know that there might be an opportunity. May, a little bit weak.
He's so
Scratch is
hurt.
actually going the back way, and May
Oh, he
does the fall damage. Just popped up in the air just enough. I really didn't think that was going to lead to too much, but just the right timing to make sure enough damage is put out to send May to the grave. So great play from the final 2 remaining players of the Covenant. As they're going to lose a little bit of cap time too, but they know that they have heals 2 second much quicker than Froyotech ever would. So there's definitely some merit for them to start poking around, and they are now entering lobby.
Yeah, very delayed death there from May. And they are going to try to push out a set, or maybe they're not. They definitely, the opportunity was there if they wanted to, but maybe they decided, 30% add into no heals. We don't want to lose, we don't want to be in the back foot instantly. We're confident in our last holds. We're going to set up for last as Shrew coming up on level 1 engineer. So definitely, yeah,
Part of me's a little surprised, honestly, especially because it's Metalworks of all things. You know that rollout is super long. Like, maybe you consider, like, okay, a scout's maybe going back to rush the medic up, but that's one less person that would be capping, right? So I feel like you honestly probably should have expected them to push, but...
When I said the Kev team likes to play slow, I think I just built something into being. I think I single-handedly cursed this match.
The thing is that at the end of the day, even if you have like an idea of like what's going to be better on paper, sometimes teams just have a strength they want to play to, and if you think that you're better off stalemating and winning off the stalemate, then I mean that's what they're going to do, and it looks like that's what we have here right at the beginning. Stratch a little weak on Sniper, has to go back and fall back with her. It's just cookie cutter for Froyotech for now. They have to go ahead and pull off their sack wave, have a spot where things are. Don't want to just get mulched by the level 2 gun sitting on top of the crate. But Sin's looking to poke around, trying to find a way, an opening.
Yeah, Froyotech is taking their time
Kev's
here.
on the banner, but this battle going on right now. It's just feeding Kev's banner until they actually come in.
I don't know if they know Kev's on the banner yet. They haven't really peeked him, but Donovan is going to fall. He's going to beat the sack as a... Yeah, this is... I feel like this is about what I... Yeah. There's going to be a lot of this, so enjoy. If you like Highlander classes and you like banners, this is going to be a good match for you. As a
Yum Yum's in lobby. Oh my god, finding Azen? Oh, the disrespect, the milk.
Grape Juice was in spawn too with 1 HP, so a lot of hurt players there. Not enough damage, but speaking of Highlander classes, we do have a spy on the field. Our first off class for Froyotech is going to be Donovan on spy. We've seen a lot of Donovan spy, right? If Convent's done their homework, they're going to know this is coming.
Yeah, they didn't check, so it'd just be off an intuition-based thing. We're like, yeah, we feel like they have a spy. We don't know for sure, but they're just playing normally. No one's really being super paranoid. I mean, Shamu's just kind of making sure he's not standing near his gun, but the Donovan's deciding when to decloak. Doesn't look like he wants to go for a med stab. Maybe just kill the engine and sap the gun. Oh, Shamu.
He knows. He's gonna sap the gun though. He's gonna shoot Kev. Are they gonna get the force? They do get the force, and they get Sam. They get the Sam. So they get a 2-man. Does Kev head of his banner? That's the question.
I think he probably does. Accepting that gun was the big play because that made sure that Sin was able to get in without getting super denied by it, and then they just got straight on A's and had to pop. But yeah, Kev probably has his banner, I would imagine, because
he might have popped it. I didn't see. Oh, he does have it. Okay, so Kev is gonna have his banner. So this is gonna be uber ad push, but it's gonna be uber to push into players who just aren't taking damage.
Oh, you have the banner on the HUD. I want that. No fair. Okay, yeah, I can see he has 100%. He's ready to go. But so is this Uber. They're immediately going in, same time with the banner, going in immediately onto the gun, dispenser down. Great pick with the engineer weapon with the swap.
Yeah,
the banner, that heavy is not. Well, he finally will die, but it took everything from them. They lose Yum Yum. They got a couple weak players. Bandy's gonna die falling backwards, and that's probably gonna be it for the rest of Froyotech. As one of these soldiers, I think maybe wanted to jump in, but messed up the jump either way. Yeah. Even though they were able to get that heavy kill, the fact that
it took so many resources.
It took so long, they couldn't even go to a second target. And then Bandy died
they
as
got
well.
the gun and the heavy, and that was it. So they got.
Sin's behind though.
Sin is behind. He's gonna get shot, but they get Grape Juice. Actually, Sin is gonna loop around. Is Sin gonna live? Oh my god. Okay, Sin lived, but Shamu might have been off worthy to get you. Actually, Shamu, he gets Yum Yum as well. He's still continuing to hold W. He's still going in.
Yeah, they see everyone in front. They've successfully made sure that I guess not flank because Sin's playing Paga, but just 2 players from the side of Froyotech are thwarted back and able to go ahead and take second without having to use their Uber. You're probably not going to be able to successfully push this because they're going to have all their players up still waiting for Grape Juice, and it's such a small ad, so it will eventually stalemate, but at least, you're not pedaling backwards all the way back to your last, so I think that's a victory enough for you if you're the side of the Covenant. But Sandblast poking around, Sam has to be careful, but it's fine for now. And driver's seat, still Froyotech favor. They have their Uber ready to go in case they want to go for some sort of weird play, but overall expecting sacks, a little bit of damage on the Azen to start it off, but...
Kev's still on the banner.
Yeah, he's still on that banner. That's going to be good for them in the long run.
I like the banner, actually. I'm a Highlander player at heart. I just enjoy the memes as a... Yeah, we're going to see if Kev can get the banner. It's probably going to be harder to spam, because the spam is just literally longer range on second. I feel like it's going to be harder to do on second, but maybe I'm wrong, as we do have some traps up in Valley, and we are going to see Froyotech. They're going to kind of slowly make their way and push, but if they take too long here and just eat spam, they're going to just feed into, everything that Kev wants to happen, so they got to be careful.
Yeah, they're still just ready to bomb, potentially, if they find a good opening. I think one's going through lower right now. Donovan trying to get his way in, but overall, Froyotech is going to give up 3 for that sack. They got a lot of damage. They killed Grape Juice, but that's about it, and now the Covenant, they're on the move. There's only 3 left alive for the side of the Froyotech squad.
Kev lived!
Bombs in with the banner and gets out and maintains it, so it's still available to use. 81% on that banner, charging up his Uber, trying to catch out any remaining players, but they will live. The remaining Froyotech squad is Sandblast is poking around, but there's way too many red players alive to actually contest mid. So back to second they go. As I guess they're kind of showing face still, but will surely eventually leave.
Yeah, surely eventually leave. And I don't think Kev popped his banner. He must be. No,
he has. Well, he still has this charge. He's at 81%.
Ah, okay, yeah, he's pretty close, and I feel like the thing with banners, you could have like Giga Sacks. It gives you a lot of options on what to do. You know what I mean? Like, because the fact that you just don't take any damage, I feel like it opens up the playbook for a lot of shenanigans you otherwise really couldn't get away with.
The biggest thing is it screws up heat of the moment decision making on whether or not you should actually take dry fights or not, and whether or not it's going to matter, because it's not necessarily a thing that you see ran in scrims. It's like, well, unless maybe Kev does in scrims just because he loves it. Yeah, unless you're playing against Kev, but usually it's like, you know, you're really trying, so you put it on at last, and then you have it on for however long you have it during your match. But okay, he has it now, so that's an extra
he has his
layer.
banner now.
If they do eventually go for an Uber exchange strategy, he will be able to have it for post, and that's gonna really screw up Froyotech. It's like heat of the moment, like, do we actually fight this type moments? But bombing in, Grape Juice trying to find an opening, a little bit of damage on the main, not quite enough to get the force.
Yum Yum was very hurt there. It's unfortunate. Their demo is gonna jump out, so you know, just a one man, nothing too extreme. As yeah, Red's gonna settle back a minute. Now it's on Froyotech to see if they want to do anything. We are gonna have Donovan. He's gonna go for a play. Can he get in? He gets one rocket. Can he get second? Azian is actually going to get forced. Donovan is gonna fall, but Froyotech has not popped the Uber. So Froyotech getting a sack just off of a one man. That's pretty good. Although they got a banner work out. The Kev pops his banner, but falls to Sandblast. Sandblast eliminating any beams or shenanigans. And now Shimu also going for a play on the flank, and Sin lived with literally one.
Yeah, they're kind of crumbling right now for the side of the Covenant. Sam might die depending on this chase from Sandblast, but no, the heals and teammates are there to make sure the Dread Demo Man lives. So overall, Froyotech, pretty successful. Donovan's bomb was pretty crazy. Aizen had no idea what was coming. He, like, by the time the first rocket was hitting him, it was already too late, and it was really difficult to find a way to surf that. So good angle to come in from as the Uber is maintained, and they're on their way through alley. Bomb from Grape Juice in the Skybox will not commit. Overall, just faking, but the Uber will eventually pop from the side of May. Heavy is inside the forwards for this post. Grape Juice will die as the rest of the red team scurries back, but Heavy's gonna backspawn maybe?
No.
Staying there?
I feel it.
Yeah.
There we go, there's the backspawn. He had to at least get a little bit of damage on him, you know? Had to make him worry about it. Although Froyotech doesn't seem worried about it at all. Yum Yum. Sparing it a bit, but yeah, they know he backspawned, so back on the last for the Covenant. So I feel like we've just kind of devolved, although they do have 50% ad. Okay, they're going to use it. Very good.
Yeah, find two soldiers immediately. Not tons of damage on them to maybe find the kills.
Oh, there might be some kills in Valley if they can get it. Yum Yum might be a kill. Oh, the Froyotech, they're all there. They don't have Ubi yet, though. They got to be careful. Grape Juice is going to fall, so that's going to be 1-for-1 trade. Froyotech do have 20% ad, but Donovan's got to be careful, too, that he doesn't feed immediately.
Yeah, May was a little weak, couldn't commit right off the bat, and Donovan almost mistimed that, but they still have their ad available. They will get it now, immediately going through Underpass as soon as it arrives. Going over to the ramp side, maybe putting some damage on the Kev, but the Uber will get popped, trying to chase inside lobby. Sam, you're indoors, you can't jump away into the corner. Will eventually die to Sandblast, and a Dillman down is going to open the floodgates for the blue team to walk in. Sandblast and Co, they're trying to poke around, but I don't think the team is quite aligned.
Kev's behind.
Kev behind, finding Sin, potentially drop down to the floor, will eventually die. So 2 explosives down, that's huge for Froyotech and the side of the Covenant.
20% still left to build.
Uber, but the soldiers are in.
Their soldiers are in and everyone's dying. Great Asian doesn't have anyone to heal. Can they get the Uber? It's just Samud. He gets nuked by 2 soldiers. And that's going to be a first round for Froyotech. And they managed to, they had a little bit of an oopsie on last, but they kind of just pushed that from mid to last pretty successfully overall.
Yeah, the underpass Uber is really good. It's especially catching Demo was extra huge. It's a very hard map as Demo to backwards transition because of how much of it is indoors. Jumping away is not usually an option, which means if you're not extra attentive to what could possibly be happening behind these walls that you can't see, you can just die, and it'll just crumble from there. So at least for now, you're in another mid-fight, so it's well and open, so you can kind of see everything going on. Yum Yum immediately very aggressively on top of the crate as the soldier will bomb in. On to Sam, might get the final rocket to get the Dome into the grave, but missing a couple will eventually die.
Donovan's so hurt in lobby.
Froyotech very weak, but they have the player advantage. May has to back up, and Vanny might fall to Shamu, who's trying to get the final kill, and will eventually collect that frag. May really passive, red HP. Kev trying to put some extra damage in to make sure they are unable to get out of this valley area to take this 3v3, but cap time in favor of the Covenant. They're hoping to just play off the respawn advantage. If they can get this cap, the respawners will arrive much quicker now.
Oh, the
bomb from Kev! Get 2, they're inside each other's players' malls. It's just Sin left alive, and they cannot do anything. Kev, oh, I bet he wishes he was on a banner now, because that would be near almost full.
That headshot. That headshot rocket did so much damage.
And
He literally
Dolphin
did
said,
like two. Yeah,
Dolphin said that was his last 2 rockets. He had no more ammo after that either.
that is such a Chad play. So see, you can say what you will about the slow banner play, but if Kev used the Chad, Kev will Chad, and I think that shows that as they are already in on last. They have used Uber, they've gone Sid, and they've gone the gun. They do have a scout on the point, and he's getting bombed though. Donovan, they are gonna get Donovan. Can they get Sandblast? They do get Sandblast.
Grape Juice bomb from the high ground, and they didn't see that coming. It's overall a 3v2, but the melee from May, the melees are going huge right now, but May will eventually fall. But oh, Yum Yum, too high up in the air will not be enough to stop Metalworks last. That hitbox is pretty wild as we overall take this to a 1-1 game.
Yeah, that's the classic mistake on Metalworks is jumping. If you jump on Metalworks, you're not blocking a point anymore. So that's definitely one of those little interesting tidbits about the map that can really bite you. I think everyone's played a pug or two where you just lose because of that. It can happen in matches too, so that's going to be a 1-1 for the Covenant. Really bringing that one back pretty fast. Like, that was pretty much a straight-up mid to last.
Quick turnaround, and we see another quick mid going in the Soldier. One Soldier's immediately just going behind Donovan's all the way in their alley area. There's so many redhead players on the map for both squads. Banny will fall, but so will Samson. No damage for either. You have Donovan still behind, trying to cause a ruckus against Shamu and Scratch, who are trying to clean him up now. Will eventually get that frag.
Shamu's hurt, though.
Distraction used. Nice arrow from May onto Yum Yum, trying to keep their scout alive, but Yum Yum immediately gets melted, and now May will fall as well. It's just Sandblast. They're both weak, but they're playing around the corner so well. Can Sandblast win this 1v3? Has to back up for the pack, but he misses his double jump. Will die. Scratch with the taunt, saying that he's trash in chat, as that was quite precarious mid for both teams, but Covenant will come out on top.
That was just this. That was the scout.
5K? What?
Scout ulti trio there, and yeah, Scratch coming out on top, and Yum Yum maybe the MGE award, but throwing a couple extra players, not the case anymore, as the Covenant scouts kind of shown their dominance there. I feel that was a pretty even fight. I think even at the beginning, it was the Covenant scouts who were hurt, but they hit their shots. Froyotech didn't hit their shots, so Froyotech's back on last again with Uber to set.
Yep, got the gun, but no pyros or heavies or snipers around. So it's just level 1 actually. They're going in. This should not be very difficult to take down at all. Immediately falls.
He's hot in the corner strat. The corner strat.
The Soldier bomb's way too high. That's tons of cap time. Brings them both over. Grape to the fall, but they've given up both Soldiers to fall.
Oh, May's getting shot in the back by Shamu.
He's able to get the pipe on the Scratch. Kev will fall as well, and they have a heavy alive, but he's just not fast enough to block the point. They got so much cap time at the beginning there. That was crucial to make sure that they were able to take this 2-1.
Yeah, that was. It looked okay for Froyotech, and then I just saw May getting shot in the back by like a full health scout, and it was kind of over from there. Not too much you can do in that situation. Is we had another long rollout, and the first round was all like Froyotech kind of just brought it back, but
Covenant just been pretty close.
Yeah, Covenant the mids have been close, but Covenant has converted these mids into rounds, which is Froyotech hasn't done that yet. It took him a bit. As we're settling into our first pause. You think this might be attack if Froyotech loses mid? I feel like they attack.
I think if they lose this mid, it's attack. Otherwise, you never know what'll happen on
I
people's
did see
internet.
May like stand still on last, but I don't know if he lagged out or was just like trying to pick up a weapon or something. He was looking down.
I'm kind of curious to see how the mids progress, because so far they've almost all of them played relatively fast pace. They've gone for the Demo Man every single I feel like both soldiers are find that Demo Man, kill him. That's been almost every mid spare one. And I'm kind of curious with both teams being so close and there not being a obvious oh, we're losing so bad, we need to do this or that, and then we'll start winning. It's kind of we're kind of winning, but not really. I'm curious to see the tweaks that we'll see from both these teams as the mid progresses, because that's going to be it's going to be really huge. Maybe
I think you timed it perfectly, as the mid is indeed about to progress. We do see Banny. Banny's getting very aggressive, pretty much dropping down immediately. He's on the top right spamming, so new strategy for Froyotech. We'll see if it pays off. Well, the Froyotech is so aggressive on the right. May's in the air. He's going to get the pack and eat another rocket, but the nuke is coming. Grape Juice. Oh my god,
there's just 6 Froyo players around the truck and they get demolished. They only lose Kevin throughout the entire ordeal.
Yeah, Kev died, but I think that's a trade you're willing to take, as that was a nuke and a half. Froyotech were so aggressive in the beginning, but they ate damage and they all just backed up into a very, very sad part of the map in the low ground. And Covenant, that was great coordination there, where they just pretty much all just held W at Froyotech, and it worked perfectly.
The gun coming up again, a little bit more passive. Hoping for the side of Froyotech to then get more than just the level 1 gun, but they're building up, and they also have a pyro to kind of negate things. So we'll see if the Covenant continues to pick this left-hand side for their Ubers. It hasn't really failed yet, so yeah, they're going for it again. Immediately.
Sandblast with the hard read, though. This is a pretty good hard read.
And the traps could find someone if the flashes aren't perfect.
Sandblast got booed!
He died to the traps, and Sandblast will give up his life. Same with Banny, but overall 44. This gun a bit too passive, though, but I think it might be enough to give up his life. But the arrow, actually? Wait. The gun, though.
The Scratch is waiting for a bow, but they're in the... Wait, they're recommitting. They're recommitting.
Oh, wait, the gun had 1 HP?
The crits, no!
Oh, what? This was a last push and a half.
No, he had the crits. And then the attack. Immediately after losing that, then the attack.
It was so good from Froyotech. They got the pick onto the demo, but then Banny died, but then the
he had the beast cannon. He had everything. The frag video was being produced for him. Oh, you hate to see it.
Yeah, well, let's hope for Froyotech's sake that they can come around, but Covenant, they're on fire right now. They might be unstoppable depending on how this goes, as this will really set the pace of Sam. Immediately dropping really low. Banny did a lot of damage to him. Soldier bombing in, trying to create some space. Extra pressure on the demo, man. That plane hasn't really changed. May surfing around, taking some damage. But
get Banny.
Finds the demo, might even find the medic over by Z, but will eventually have to fight 2 scouts. It's causing a lot of distraction. They'll bring back 2 scouts. Almost got him with the final rocket, jeez, but that's enough of distraction for the Covenant to buy some ground, but they don't have enough players, and Sam leaving opposite direction of the rest of the team, but will be okay. And honestly, you know,
they all just held S and chased the players around behind.
Yeah, they did a pretty good job, Froyotech, of making sure that if you're gonna turn off for people, make sure you don't die for them. And speaking of dying,
that was a nuke.
Dying.
Yeah, that was no opportunity to escape there. Like you said, those backwards transitions can be pretty brutal, as both teams have Uber, but looks like they don't. You know, up 2 rounds, they're not super eager to just fight. Maybe they're peeking like it.
Kev.
Oh, the spy! It was such a weird timing. Even I didn't expect it. Got a pick, and that might be enough to push out, especially respawns coming.
Force though from Shamu.
Yeah, gotta get the force. That's, you know, that was such like a high risk play, and they actually went for it. That's the thing with the Kev team. I feel like sometimes they just play Giga passive, and sometimes they just do that. How do you predict that?
It's dynamics of high invite really comes to fruition here. Is full ad available, they're inside lobby. Have to be careful of the traps, might have to pop immediately through the shutter, and they will indeed do that. Finding both floaters immediately, a little bit of damage onto Sin, but they're able to jump away. Banny falling away as well through the alley areas. Overall, they're not really going to get too many kills. Froyotech, they don't have their Uber to immediately block this. They could try to poke around and try to spam, but considering how much health they lost in their escape, that will not be available to them. Just playing safe off the Uber advantage they know they have is Covenant. They have plenty of time to go ahead and set up however they desire for the impending Froyotech push.
Yeah, this is 30% ad, so it is Uber ad, but they gotta be careful. If you take this too slowly, the other team's just gonna get Uber. So, you gotta be timely about this one, or at least pressure them out as you're walking in. We'll have to see how the Covenant want to defend this. No banners, so there is going to be no threat of that. At least
the shutter.
They're out, and Froyotech used. They got second, but this is a leapfrog.
Yeah, this is definitely. I'm a little surprised that the Covenant was literally 6-manning on Shutter, and I'm also a little surprised that Froyotech decided they saw a 6-man Shutter and
Banny just bombed it.
I mean, let's be real. If you catch one of them, you catch all of them, but it didn't catch any of them. Is this Uber? I don't think it's gonna catch. You know what? Actually, no. They found Donovan, who was trying to go behind.
Yeah, they got a pick. This is the classic leapfrog situation. Banny trying to spam some pipes, just get anything. Okay, but he got easy in though. All right, that's a pretty good pick. It was in lobby.
Just at the doorway, like they were all capping, and he just ate. Like
all right, Banny with a really sneaky trap there, getting easy in, and that kind of prevents the leapfrog situation. So Froyotech now in the driver's seat with massive Uber ad. Second is pretty much free. I don't see anyone trying to fight this. Covenant is en masse, and they're building up their defenses.
They know that even if they tried to hold it, it'd be with like heal disadvantage even before the Ubers come into play, and they can't really fight that with positional disadvantage as well. So back to last you go. Got the gun set up. Scratch feeling the level 2 over by the crates. So far, everyone's really wanted to push this left-hand side from the attacker's perspective, but it seems like Froyotech might change that up. Banny bombing. Oh, his sticky got jumped around for one of the soldiers. He's not able to go very deep, and that means it's going to take a little bit extra for this gun to die, but it will eventually fall. Uber has faded. Bomb coming in from pretty much all of the soldiers, and they're immediately collapsing on each other's combos. The heavy out on the field. They've given up one, but they have this giant hunk of health on top of the point. Yum Yum will fall. Banny gets mowed down as well. Scratch. He's gonna get a 3K. No, will fall to the soldier bombing in. The overall 2v3 gonna be hard for Sandblast to win, but
it's a demo. They
helps it. Just sticky the point, and Shamu and Grape respawn, but the Uber is gonna have to get forced. So that is a saving grace here for the side of Froyotech. Even though that push didn't work, they still got the force. They still walk away with Ada, and I think it could have gone worse. The Covenant might not be too upset with that either, considering they, it's down to the wire.
Yeah, I gotta say, comparing the two last holds, Froyotech is having a much harder time pushing last. I don't know if you'd agree with that, but it's either the Covenant last pushes are very good, or the Covenant defenses are good. I don't know what it is, but the Covenant seems very much more dominant.
This one was just cursed because Banny's sticky got juggled by a soldier before he could even bomb in. So he's not even bothering. He's just walking.
He's just alright. He's doing a jaw dribble.
Four on the point though.
Oh, yeah, they had the point time from before. That helps if you have all the point time from before. So definitely.
And they just double scatted it too.
Yeah, they just double scatted it. All right, so they did manage to get last in the end. Say what you will, it took a little bit, but they did get it, and now it's at 2-3 for Froyotech. So Froyotech getting their way back in the match, but still down around. And these mid fights, if you're Froyotech, I feel like you got to be a little scared because the mid fights, if you lose mid, you have lost the round. That's how this match has gone for Froyo.
It almost makes you want to say you just want to try not to lose, but that's not really a winning mentality. So
Just
you
get
can't
the
really,
med.
really think like
Just
that.
don't let them have Uber.
Don't for the med, and that's about it. Maybe change your targeting
Yeah,
away from
look
the
how
dominant.
aggressive they
Yeah,
are.
they know. Both soldiers immediately on A's and taking down May. Not that passive. Popped up
May's
into the
in the
air.
skybox.
He'll
Can
be
they
fine
get
for
him?
The second rocket.
May is
Still threats
the
around.
dodges.
How's
There's
May
no way.
alive?
Okay, they got him. They got him at the end.
I mean, it works definitely for Froyotech. I'm a little surprised they weren't that passive. Maybe they were assuming that the red soldiers were going to bomb into Valley, and in that case, that was actually pretty smart, because in the beginning, they were pretty much untouched, considering what was, like, everyone sees top left of Metalworks mid as, like, the corner of death, and they were there for a long while uncontested, so started out pretty good, but at the end of the day, Medic does indeed fall, just barely.
They actually have Uberad because of how they got a really unfortunate spawn, and Asian died so early.
They have Helad and Uberad, but it's this team. Remember the very first aftermath of the very first aftermath of the first mid we saw. They had a heal advantage they could use to push second, and they did not bother. Now it's heal and like a respectable ad long run, and they're like, no, that's fine. We're gonna sit on last.
They rolled the dice to see what they weren't going to do, whether they're going to do like an aggressive spy play or if they're just going to sit on last. And they rolled the dice to sit on last. So that's where we are right now. But off classes,
they're not going to push out either. They're just like, we have 50 ad, don't care.
Don't care. Yeah, didn't ask, don't care. It's just a number.
I mean, realistically, if you think about it, considering you don't really park the bus with one round up, especially because of the format. But if you really think your strength is going to be Froyotech being forced to try things and then making them mess up and then winning off of that, rather than we saw so many leapfrog Ubers. They've done this like 3 times now where they try to push out a last with an Uber and they didn't really get anything besides the one time that Donovan tried to go behind. So obviously that's not really a strength for them right now. So in a way, I'm starting to agree with like.
Their last holds have been working. Their last holds have been they've been very solid overall. So
play to your strength.
Yeah, play to your strengths. Kev getting some really good damage out on May. May gotta be careful here because Kev got some really good damage in on him, and that was looking a little sketchy. Froyotech, they're trying to pressure to try to spam the gun or do something, and they do get Yum Yum in. Yum Yum is gonna get shot by the gun, and actually you mentioned to get Donovan in. Asian gonna milk that and surf out. So big respect to Asian. They're dropping very low and not popping, and he's gonna be able to regen off of the dispensers, so good engineer gameplay there. As Shimu in lobby, seeing if anything can be done.
Not really gonna go for any counters.
Yeah,
We'll poke around to see if someone was gonna like grant themselves free, like overstay their welcome. Human error, it happens. But looks like the play now is gonna be Donovan Spy. So trying to go for number 2. Worked out beautifully the first time. Went for the gun zap. Sin bombed in. Sin was able to get the force. And yeah, Kev is at 93%. He just needs like a little bit of spam. He
accidentally spammed the spy, I think. Oh no, okay, so Donovan is able to get in, at least the demo's kind of like looking at him in a weird, he's just in the same doorway. Kind of hard. Like Kev is shooting the oxygen.
Yeah, Kev's paranoid.
Kev's figured it out. Kev has the highlighter experience. He knows what's going on. Kev probably in his banner or very close to it. So Donovan, he is on spy. He's waiting for an opportunity here. He might be even able to call Kev's banner depending on what's going on here. We'll see.
Oh, decloak potentially. Sap, stab, bomb. It's version 2 of what literally happened last time. Only this time, it is going to be sacking 3, so it's going to be a bit more precarious for the side of Froyotech to hold a second. But overall, the plan once again just works flawlessly.
It just works. But they do have a banner again, so Froyotech didn't work too well last time with the banner. Scratch complaining that he was so spy checking it. Yeah. They knew there was a spy, and you still die to it. That's the sad feeling. But there's only a minute left, so if Covenant can just hold last, they can park the bus and just go to mid, which honestly might be their strategy.
It's
we'll have
extra
to see. And
deja
here's
vu
the banner. I
because
heard
it's
it.
the banner again, the same as the very first last hold, as the Uber comes in straight through bridge, bombing forward. Actually, they're Banny just dies from level 2. I didn't even see what did most of the damage. Surely it wasn't the gun with no Dailman alive. It's gonna be a little rough. But
They're not getting anything. They're not getting literally anything. Okay, they got Shamu. They got one. They got a kill. It's just Yum Yum, and Yum Yum's running away. And if you're the Covenant, I think okay, you have full Uber.
Yeah.
You take this.
Because mid's gonna be free as well for the most part. Well, actually, it won't be free, but you have an Ubrad. But
yeah,
they brought 2 scouts down the bridge, and then I don't think Banny died to just the gun. I didn't see what bursted him down, but the gun's definitely what secured the kill, and he died.
The banner
as he
doesn't
landed.
work on the gun, right? The gun still takes the same damage.
The banner blocks crits and gun damage and stuff. Or no,
yeah.
they changed.
It doesn't like the gun doesn't have like basically more HP because the banner. I'm pretty sure.
No.
Yeah. So it's just I don't know. I don't know what happened. Donovan is behind. He's maybe gonna get cleaned up. He's 8 HP, but so Donovan is behind. They've used the Uber gun. Basically no kills.
Sniper.
Sandblast is Sniper in Valley. He's in the good angle. He's gonna be able to see on the point. The question is, can he hit his shot? They are gonna get this point. They're gonna get Donovan behind. So that is a kill. Froyotech do have 60% Uber to work with here, though.
I'm backing up. Seems like Donovan will be the only casualty stuck behind as the rest of the team backs up, and they kind of recognize that they have to play really weird here because they have an ad. They can't wait too long. They're missing a soldier and they have a sniper, so they're immediately going in. Banny's in deep, trying to find any player. Grape Juice is behind. They will find Kev. Overall 2v2 on to Sin. Oh, never mind. Grape Juice accidentally just baited the heck out of Shamu. Aizen dies. They chase into lobby, able to find them. So wrapped around, had so many Covenant players were behind that they just made it really easy for them to get in the lobby. And Sam,
he's just 1v1ing Banny.
Why are you taking that 1v1?
Sometimes you gotta try to establish your dominance. Banny held S in fear, so I think he established his dominance there. You know, Banny had to run away in fears. We do see a silly gun in lobby, but it's not gonna live very long. Oh, Sandblast, yeah, on the patrol.
Froyo played really well off that chaos. They had like 3 people behind on the side of the Covenant. A little bit of a scuffle inside the lobby area, which can be awkward to fight in sometimes, and like willingly enter it unless you're really confident.
Oh, I know why he ran it. He probably knew he probably thought he was gonna die on second, so he just went and died so that way he'd be up for last, like faster.
I suppose if you if you're really sure that you're not gonna hold 2.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're not going to. Sandblast is, and Sandblast is peeking.
Sandblast once again just tossed around. Banny can't get into last properly. I don't know what they're putting extra presence on these doors, but there's so much cap.
They had a sniper too, so that's one less scout. They have a Putis, but they get the cap. I don't think Sandblast just got pressured out in the bit, and they basically lost that 5v6. So successful last push for Froyotech, and with 2 minutes left on the map timer, we have a 3-3 tied game. This is
going to continue to be tied unless someone takes a really quick round, but these Froyotech...
If Covenant can win the mid, it could be. They've been very, very fast on their mid wins.
Yeah, but Froyotech is also kind of shaped up a little bit if they can survive mid, because they're trying to find some traction. Even when, like, Banny's unable to get his jump in, they're still able to get enough cap time to win, so it's seemingly not mattering that much. It's just a very small thing. But bombs coming in, just a little bit of fakes, but the soldiers on the blue team will immediately bomb in. No surfs available, so much damage on Sam will eventually fall, and Aizen is so far back, it kind of leaves Shamu and Grape Juice out on their own. Grape Juice will die to Young
Shamu's gonna fall too.
Kev trying to get the play in onto lobby, but will not find enough damage. So Aizen scratch. Last one's left alive. They're pretty much out of the mid to begin with, and back up to last.
Donovan's on spy, or is he just? Okay, he's just forwarding. Oh no, he's on spy. He's taking the jog too. He's going not even waiting for forwards. He's going the long way. Oh, he's running backwards. Okay, now he's gonna get forwards. He's on Dead Ringer, and he's running back to spawn. I think he gave up hope on this, but it's only 50 seconds left. He might not be there in time. He literally might not be here in time because I don't know if they have time for Donovan to roll out.
I mean, I think, yeah, if they wanted to end
he is going out on spy, but there's 44 seconds left. You gotta be fast.
Yeah, if you wanted to end this as like, all right, we win 4-3, no infinite like round timer, then you would have to be quicker than this probably. Yeah. So they're probably
if you wanted the round, but yeah, I guess they're going for the long con because it is gonna reset. So. But, you know, Froyotech, they gotta, you know, Banny's gonna have a last push where he actually gets in the last and kills the gun. The last couple times that has not gone that way.
It took so long for him to roll out because of the watch mishap that the paranoia is already set in. He already accidentally took some spam on his way in. They're, like, already spy checking. But last time they spy checked really hard and it didn't work, but Kev immediately finding him. Gun will not get sapped.
Asian has a scout in his face. He has a scout in his face and he's not. Oh my god, Yum Yum is in his face and he just couldn't hit easy in. That's
Disrespect.
insane.
Pays
That
off.
was massive disrespect. He was in 104 range that entire time and just didn't pop. Like, that is actually such an unbelievably Chad play.
Sin lived though, so they have some extra spam. But Kev, I think Kev tried to bomb through the door and hit his head, so wasn't able to actually get in. But
Yeah,
we've
love to
entered
see it.
infinite overtime.
They have entered infinite overtime. No spy, no off classes, no memes or shenanigans. As far as I can tell, other than I guess maybe a banner. We'll see. But yeah, well, so I feel like the Kev team is pretty happy in this situation. You know, you're on last with your bread. Obviously, you don't want to be on last, but they seem pretty comfortable here.
I guess all things considered, they didn't have to play that fast because there's still this window of opportunity where you just win via infinite overtime normally, right?
Yeah.
Because now that it's 3-3 next round wins, this is a pretty good spot to be in. So they're making space over on the flank, trying to get into the area where the gun does not have range of, but they might give up a little bit too much health to continue after the gun has died, which is usually the case. Been a lot of teams trying to spam down the guns, have to give up a little to take some. So overall, losing Donovan is going to be enough to kind of cancel things.
Gonna fall.
Grapejuice, yeah, he kind of poked around inside lobby, immediately finding Yum Yum. So overall 1-for-1, and now Sin's trying to make moves.
Sin's trying to make moves. Kev's gonna eat a bunch of damage, and actually, the demo's very low. They are gonna get the demo. Yum Yum is underneath. Can they clean him up? I don't know if they know he's there. Sin is gonna fall, but Yum Yum gets a bow, and here comes the Uber exchange. The Covenant's gotta be careful here.
Yeah, reacting to the way that
Danny's
Froyotech is
in, and
pushing
he's thinking the point. Oh no, it might be over.
This could be really bad for the Covenant.
Oh,
Froyotech,
they're getting kills.
they know they're so close.
It's just
Froyotech,
Kev.
they
It's just
need to
easy.
kill.
The demo's rolling out. They're gonna get it.
Bit of a back and forth match, but at the end of the day, Froyotech will reign supreme just by the skin of their teeth, but enough to overall count as the overall victors 4-3.
4-3 in the end, but that was a nail biter. That was. I feel like Froyotech had very good. Whatever they did during the attack definitely worked because they didn't lose a mid after that, like nearly as disastrously. So whatever they did, they fixed their mids, and eventually they got their last pushes right. Took a little bit, but they got it.
It was weird though, because I think part of me kind of feels like that Covenant was kind of changing the way they were defending last as well. Like they put so much extra emphasis on making sure that, I think it was because they changed directions. Because Froyotech, both teams were pushing on that little like left-hand side from the attacker's perspective, but as soon as Froyotech decided to start pushing bridge, even though that Annie was getting juggled and he couldn't actually like jump in really quickly, it was still enough. It was a totally different way to push. You don't get stuffed by a pyro. You get a little bit deeper down the bridge, and it overall worked out a little bit better. So good on them for recognizing the changes that need to be made.
Yeah, I agree. Good on them changing, and I feel like Covenant, even though they lost, this is what like their first week with this new roster. So even though they've all had experience playing together, I think that was still that wasn't a disaster by any means. I feel like you would not be. I think you'd be okay with running it back later on in the season on Metalworks if it came to that.
It's too new of a team to really like have high expectations, but we do have Banny here for a post-game interview. Welcome, Banny. Congratulations on your victory.
Hey, thank you. I think Sandblast's trying to get in here. If you want to wait for him. He needs the info apparently.
It should be the same info. We can send it to him.
Yeah. All right.
1, 2, 3, not it.
Probably just be Dolphin that sends him the info. One thing while we're waiting for Sandblast to get in here, what made you decide to go ahead and go for Metalworks again? I assume there's a certain amount of confidence about like your team's ability to like kind of run it back when you go straight from like a loss in general to playing a new team on the same map.
Well, this match was actually supposed to be played week 2, so this has been on Metalworks. It's been set as Metalworks for like a couple weeks at this point.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
So we've been preparing for Metalworks, and so we just figured we'd put our 2 matches on Metalworks, so we just have the consistency of practice for the last couple matches here.
Do you think that, obviously, at this point, when you play most of the teams, you like have an idea of what a team plays like, but when your opponents kind of swap up the roster, half their team is different. It's not the same team anymore. You don't know exactly what you would what route you want to take if you want to go for hard counters or anything like that. Do you think that threw a loop in your plans at all, that you had to like kind of revisit how you're going to play Metalworks versus this team, or did it not matter because your strategy was just based on purely your own team and not about your opponents?
Yeah, well, this team is now giving kind of that old cozy team vibe. That was the team that Kev was leading like a season or 2 ago. And they had a lot of similar tactics, especially with like the banners and all that. So it was kind of familiar to me. But definitely they played differently than the previous iteration of this team. I think. Well, that being said, they probably would have busted out some of the same stuff in a match. I know that they're kind of, they always have tricks up their sleeve. I think they're willing to exploit them more than
Yeah.
maybe some other teams would be. So, um, yeah, they're a unique team, that's for sure, and they're willing to use more of their the tools at their disposal in terms of off classes and banners and stuff. So it's just something that we weren't able to practice necessarily, but we kind of went in knowing that that's what they were gonna bust out, I guess.
Facts.
Greetings, Sandblast. How was your match?
We played like dogness in the first half, and I played like shit, but they still lost, so that's kind of crazy now. I don't know. It is what it is. I played like
You got the comeback.
I played like shit, but it's all good. And my team had my back that game, put me on the saddle, and
Metalworks Scout is hard.
No, it's not. They just rode me into victory. Scratch figured out how to use his like keyboard and mouse for this first time this season, so it's good for him. Other than that, GG's all around. He was talking mess the whole game just to lose. I played bad and we still lost. That's magical.
Yeah,
That's how you know we have untapped potential.
Overall, it was a hard-fought victory. What do you guys think was the biggest hurdle that you had to overcome that you eventually did, like, overall fix to take it at the end of the day?
It was me taking control.
Well, I would say mid fights definitely. We got mid lasted, I think,
Twice.
3 times.
A 3, yeah.
The three rounds we lost were less than 2 minutes each. So the mids definitely were volatile and they cost us a lot. It's similar to our last match actually, where I think every round we lost was like the same, like 2 minutes. So the mids on Metalworks are definitely a struggle for us, and I guess our last holds also weren't super solid. So yeah, we just threw away 3 rounds within the span of 6 minutes.
Yeah, I feel like the Covenant last holds were pretty strong sometimes too. Between the banner, the gun, you guys had a lot of obstacles to overcome just getting into last.
Well, once we managed to like set up our play, we had decent success with like the the sack play that we were running and all that kind of stuff, but it does take a little bit of time. And I will say their spam was really fucking annoying. I would be like trying to peek and just be getting shot by endless rockets. They were quite aggressive at the doors, so it was kind of hard for us to like execute some of our like pressures into last because they were just spamming us so aggressively. Partly because they're trying to build that banner, I imagine. But yeah.
Yeah, Kev.
It was extra interesting too because talking about like going up against their defense, there were multiple times where like I think once you guys like started going bridge, even though that I think you, Banny in particular, you were catching some of that spam, making it harder for you to jump in. But even then, it was still a much more like successful like last, and that's where you really started to get rounds. Was that like a very? I guess the big question is, obviously it was a deliberate change. Was it based off of like, oh, they're doing this, so we need to go main, or was it just this isn't working, we need to like do something different, otherwise we're just going to be pushing last over and over again?
Personally, I just don't like so much going through that like narrow door on the left. I think that it's a little bit risky just because you can get stuffed out by a pyro so easily. We were still having trouble though because like sticky traps and stuff would kill us when we'd go main. So I don't know. It's kind of a pick your poison type situation. But for me to be more like involved on the fight, I definitely prefer the main positioning, and I like nuked them the very last push because I managed to have that positioning for like the post uber, and they just all got forced on the point. So that's just where I was feeling a little more comfortable personally.
How do you two feel about the new Covenant roster compared to the old one? I don't know if you guys are regular scrim partners or what, but do you feel like same
It's the
team?
same thing, bro.
Same team?
It's the same thing.
It's pretty similar, I suppose. I think that the scouts maybe were a little more aggressive previously. I think that Catface was much more determined to hold W at me and like flank and stuff. So I didn't feel as much like scout aggression from them personally. It mostly felt like they were trying to move more as like a blob, especially with Kev's like banners and stuff. They were much more of a like, I don't know, combo soldier oriented team, which is kind of unconventional compared to other teams in the league.
Our mids were just dogness. We just couldn't figure out a way to kill their med and they were killing ours, and we just got mid to lasted. Happens to the best. We struggled a little bit, but we saw over the horizon and we walked out with a close dub.
Mhm.
Shouldn't have been as close, but it is what it is. Happens to the best of us, you know?
Mhm.
Who's your MVP, Sandblast? You said you weren't doing so hot. Then who was it? Who was the person that was really carrying the torch?
I don't know, to be honest. Probably May, low key.
Thoughts, Banny?
I think it's such a tough game that no one like got to just go off.
Yeah, it was one of those games.
Can be kind of
But
hard to spot.
yeah, I would say, shout out to Donovan's spy. He
Yeah, that shit's
he
funny.
helped us break some of those problematic holds for
He
sure.
got a stab when they were all looking for him, which is honestly pretty impressive.
Yeah, even just like sapping the sentry and stuff set us up pretty nicely.
Yeah.
All right,
Right.
you've played most of the teams now. Who do you think's gonna get in playoffs? Who's the top four in whatever order, but just like who's actually making it to playoffs? Who's your predictions?
Us, G6, Catface. You got benched or cut or rage quit. I don't know. Whatever this Covenant team is, and Jimbo. I think Jimbo's gonna make a playoff debut.
Yeah, Rocket King's team is undefeated GPG, so
Yeah, I've heard they're the new big thing.
Yeah, they're kind of the goats, low key. They're kind of nasty.
well, just off record alone, they've got a really good chance of making it. But they are probably gonna take some losses soon, hopefully.
They're never
But-
gonna lose.
But they'll still have a really good record, and especially the head-to-head is going to be favorable for them. Them beating Covenant, I'd say, almost guaranteed them into playoffs. If that match, I think last week, Covenant versus 3D3M, whatever that team is called, if that one would have gone the other way, then it might be a little bit more interesting. But I don't know. Second half of the season really could go either way. There are some sleepers, not every team is to be counted out in bottom invite either.
That's facts.
Sure. So we'll have to see how the second half of the season develops, but I think that's going to be it for our questions. You good, Space? You think
I'm
of
good.
anything else? All right, well, time to go ahead and head over to the shoutouts. Any last final thoughts before we close out? Starting with Banny.
Final thoughts and shoutouts, is that what you said?
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to my team for another comeback. Definitely a challenge, but we kept a level head and focused, and we closed it out, so that was good. And shout out to everyone for tuning in to watch. Hopefully more good matches coming later. And yeah, shout out to you guys for putting on the stream. That's it.
What about you, Sandblast?
Shout out to my team. Came back a little bit. Shouldn't have been a comeback, but we always prevail when we need to. Shout out to Skis. Shout out to Marmaloo. Jay Mearman. Shout out to the big dog, Soapy. And shout out to production. And then the millions of fans watching the stream right now as we speak.
What about you, Space?
Oh yeah, shout out to everyone watching. Shout out to both teams. Putting up a good match for everyone to see. Shout out to the banner. I like memes, and the Kev teams have a lot of memes up their sleeve, which makes personally makes me happy. And shout out to Skis.
Yep, as always, shout out to the teams for playing and everyone for watching. It's going to be it for us tonight, though. If you want to watch more action, I think there's another cast tomorrow. It's going to be GPG versus G6, assuming no reschedules, and the same with GPG playing Froyotech on Thursday. And then if you want to wait even more, there's also the Highlander loop around where 7 days from now, another Highlander match will happen. Regular season still going on continuously with the 6th season. So got a whole week lined up, and there's other matches as well being casted elsewhere, Fireside, etc. So you can check the other half of Invite if you have some interest over there as well. Get as much as you possibly can, but for tonight, that'll be it for us. I've been Jarrett, casting with Space Ghost with Dolphin on production. Thank you, and good night.
Good night.